We're going to talk about what is right, and that is right by the international forecaster. Bob Chapman joins us today. He joins us every other week so that we can get a fix on what's happening financially in the world, if it is possible. But if anybody's done it, it is Bob Chapman in his International Forecaster newsletter. So I thank him very much, and I appreciate your joining us today on the Power Hour today, Bob Chapman.
Well, thank you very much for having me again. I've been looking forward to it.
Well, thank you.
Every time I take my Strauss Heart Drops every morning, I think about you.
You know what? This is strange. You know, yesterday I went down to Lake of the Ozarks with some friends of mine, and we had a ball down there, and we were anyway. They had talked to me. One of the people was a physician, and they wanted to know. They asked me about that story that Bob Chapman said about his wife. And do you mind just giving that again real quickly for people to know about what happened with your wife and Strauss Heart Drops?
Well, Judy, 7 years ago, I was told that she had to have a bypass. And she had that, and it came out very well. And the doctor said, well, we think we're going to probably have to do the other side. They did the left-hand side. And we think we'll have to do the other side probably in about 6 more months.
Okay, now you're not talking about a carotid endarterectomy. The carotid's in the neck, are you? Or you're talking about the vessels in the heart? Right?
There's an incision just below the collarbone on the left-hand side, and there's a tube that runs down under the skin to the thigh.
Okay.
And, of course, they went down all the way to the toe to, I guess, ream out the vein or whatever they do.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, it was pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
And they said the other side would have to be done. And then I discovered Strauss Heart Drops. So she started taking them, and 6 months later came, and they did the Doppler, which is the blood flow, and it came out excellent. And it's been that way ever since, and I can't attribute it to anything else that she wasn't doing before, but to Strauss Heart Drops. And I take them as well, and goodness knows I'm a lucky dog. I never had anything wrong with me, and I work 18 hours a day, so maybe they're helping.
They're amazing. They're amazing. I have to tell you, some people complain about the taste of Strauss Heart Drops, which I don't mind it at all. In fact, I'm doing a new parasite cleanse that tastes so horrible. It's a liquid also, that I use the Strauss Heart Drops as a chaser for the parasite because it makes it taste better. I mean, that's bad.
Wow.
Yeah, that is bad. That is bad. But anyway, well, I'm glad it worked for Judy, and we wish her the best. 7 years, that's pretty awesome. It just liquefies all that fat and cholesterol and gets rid of the buildup. That's wonderful. All right.
That's right.
I want to call your attention.
Well worth it.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. And we have them at the Power Hour because we know they work, ladies and gentlemen. I want to call to your attention an article written by Ernest Christian and Gary Robbins. Now, Christian was an attorney, a deputy assistant secretary of the Treasury in the Ford administration. Robbins was an economist at the Treasury Department in the Reagan administration. They wrote this article called, Will Washington's Failures Lead to the Second American Revolution? In other words, people are getting pretty upset. Now, this is kind of people in the mainstream that are starting to say, Second American Revolution. How prevalent do you think it is that people are waking up and saying, enough is enough?
Well, I think it's been going on for the last 2 years, and I think that possibility of revolution exists. And I think they might be talking about it for 2 reasons. Programs like yours and talk radio and Internet, the presentation of ideas that are out of the mainstream, outside the box, thought processes that you are not given in major media. And they're finding, and you just read Brzezinski's speeches over the last several months, that the people who are in control are now very tuned into the fact that the public, for the first time ever, this goes back over 1,000 years, the public is finding out what these people are up to,
yes,
what they're looking for, how they get so immensely rich at the expense of the average person. and how they make that work, how they plan booms and panics and bubbles, and none of this happens by chance. These people do this deliberately for whatever reason at that time. And these people are discovering that they better get on the edge of what we're talking about so that they can either go along for the ride or discredit us. And, you know, you have guys like Glenn Beck, 95% truth and 5% of what they want you to hear. And that's not good enough. And they're trying to usurp what we're trying to do and replace us as the progenitors and guardians of truth about what's really going on. And you're going to see more and more of it, and you're going to see more attacks on people like yourself and myself. You're going to see places where certain people are interviewed and others are never interviewed because they don't want their word going out because it's too powerful. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, the American people are on the edge. In June of 2003, the powers behind government had to make a decision. Are we going to go for it and try to implement world government, or do we have to back off again? And they decided to go for it. You can tell by their actions.
Well,
and
I think there's
no way back for them.
Well, there's a certain amount of damage control going on, I think, because they're realizing and recognizing it's not going to be a pushover. People are not going to just buckle under and say, oh, okay, whatever you say. I mean, this new story that came out today in Oklahoma, the EPA is now going to crack down on dust. You're not allowed to have farm dust. And the EPA sent the state of Oklahoma this letter with all the rules and regulations on having dust on your property. I mean, how stupid. I mean, this is, and to think that people, the 21 senators have already responded to this letter. I mean, I would respond by saying, what are you guys smoking up there, and what are you thinking? But instead, they're responding to the reasons why it would be too overburdensome to have to control the dust on farm property. My gosh, that's not what we were put on this earth for.
Well, I think that you do have this undercurrent, and it's going to get more powerful. But even more powerful than that is the disgruntlement in the military. And particularly today after Iraq and the horrendous situation there, the military people know the trillions of dollars that were stolen. It's just incredible the amount of money that was stolen. And in Afghanistan, an insurgent running warfare to have our Marines in particular guarding a poppy field so that the CIA and MI6 can make $300 billion a year. It's all jaded. People are saying to themselves, you know, I'm supposed to be here for my country, and here I'm here for reasons I shouldn't be. And, you know, I get a lot of questions by email on it by people who are on active duty and people who are retired, and they're very, very concerned. And it's not only will we have subscribers in Afghanistan and Iraq. We have them in every embassy and consulate in the world. My publication, without a doubt, is the most plagiarized in the entire world.
Wow, that's
the minute it comes out,
interesting.
The minute it comes out in Washington, everybody's got it on their computer. So they're concerned.
Yeah, they are. They are. And I'll tell you what, on Freedom Watch this past weekend with Judge Napolitano, my goodness, he is not pulling any punches. I cannot believe how he is calling attention to the fraud that's going on in the government. And it's about time. Here we have another 5 banks that failed this weekend. What do we know about how bankrupt the FDIC is right now? I mean, how do they still have any money to function with, or are they just robbing Peter to pay Paul and paying the Ponzi game?
Well, under the new Financial Regulation Act, they're regulated by the Federal Reserve, so they have an endless supply of money now. It's as simple as that. Yeah, I just wrote an article this morning. It's for Wednesday's issue, and it's about that sort of thing. And the bottom line is this. The pursuance of world government is underway. There's no way back. The next step in this tale is the Keynesian concept of economics, which essentially is an inflationary concept. They have to keep on doing it until one of two things happens. The bottom falls out and the system can't handle it anymore, which is very, very possible. We saw that in Weimar, Germany. And also the rolling depression to recession to depression